Well, hello and welcome back to the Crowswood Model Railway YouTube channel, and this is the update video on Strixland. It's been a while since I've done an update on this video, however it has briefly shown in my 2024 plans video which I did, which was my last video, and a little short video I did of a little sort of meme video because I've had a little bit of a hyperfixation. That's half of them. I have Model Rail Magazine and Bachmann made 12, from my understanding, of the USA/S100 tank engines. I've got 8. From what I can tell, they did a second run of this engine, which is 3064, which was the one that used to be at the Bluebell. They did a BR Black Lake Crest, which had all, I think, has all the sort of radio antennae gubbins, and a weathered version of that, and a Longmore Military Railway one. I think I've got enough. Every siding, pretty much, except for the abandoned siding, has an engine in it. There's an engine in the single shed, there's 2 engines in a double shed, although admittedly an advantage of DCC, to give credit where credit's due, is I could fit 4 USA tanks in that double engine shed, but instead just 2. So I could always put a dead engine or 2 at the back with the couplings removed as if they're being worked on. Although it'd be pretty hard to get more people in it, but I can't get the engines in there. Just pan the camera across so you can hopefully see a bit more of the track plan and see that I have ballasted properly. My first time ballasting was an absolute nightmare, and it put me off ballasting, and I think the reason for that was it was 009, so it was practically N-gauge track, and yeah, it wasn't fun. However, I much more enjoyed the process for ballasting 00 track. It's a bigger layout than my 009 board. This is about 3 foot 4, 3 foot 5 this way. This is a metre at 1.8 meters, so 6 foot. So it was nearly a 6x4 board. And it was much nicer to ballast because the track is just, generally speaking, bigger, easier to work with. I haven't ballasted very much. Or seen it very much around the point because I want it to function without any issue getting in the way. No ballast, nothing or anything like that. I did have a couple where I had to sort of brush and blow air and just try and get 1 or 2 bits of ballast as I was ballasting out of a few points because it wasn't quite connecting up. So it would have been like that, which is not ideal. But it works. It looks the part, and I've got sort of different sort of scatters and turfs and different materials. I tried to make something like hard standing based on what I used as a pseudo ballast on the N-gauge layout. I've got some brown, some in the CES, various Javis, and I think 1 cheapy packet of Gauge Master grass tufts, cheapy packet I got at Stafford Model Railway exhibition. Most of the ballast is Javis. I can't remember where the dart ballast is from, and there's also some areas that I've used coal as a ballast. And despite it being sort of Southern Railway again, sort of inspired with the main motive power, the South Down buses, which I'll get onto a little bit, be a bit more into them in a bit, and the LBSC LSWR heavy rolling stock, because the buildings I was using, so like the aesthetic and the compact size of this building, which is my main platform building, and also like the Metcalfe, Settle and Carlisle style goods shed, they use red on their doors, and so to match that I've painted my yard lamps red. It's a Tamiya red with a flat red ladder, I can't remember the colour codes, sorry, with Tamiya white on the bulb, and then Humbrol rust enamel just brushed on in a few areas, and trackside signs, I believe this is red to match the red on the doors. But red, I think, was also used by many other railways, not just the BR Midland region, because this is a BR Midland region red. And so I wanted that same consistency, that same flavour, although I do also have, as you can see sort of here, green lampposts, but I already had those, so I wasn't going to fork out loads of money when I already had a packet of these, which cost me £1 from Foxfield. Panning over again. Water tower's been done in the same colours, the same Tamiya red and Hull red. There's a water tower there, and there's a water tower over there. Pardon the flash shining off of the photographs, but given how it's a USA tank railway, operated railway, there's pictures of USA tanks in various situations. And I have S73, a photo of S73 up on there, in the same condition I have S73 of as a model. Apologies about the camera shake. But when you last saw the layout, it was before it was scenic. I was looking at doing as a brewery, using the brewery buildings by Metcalfe, where I made two big, one factory, one double brewery sort of areas. However, that did change, as you can see. It's a bit more of a heritage type railway, very much rule one, I can run what I want, but as modern cars, classic cars. I've just noticed that Ford Transit has rolled down the hill, and we have an RTC. Thank you, Ford Transit. It's the Coca-Cola one. So what I'll do is I'll get into the reasons why I wanted to change it, and I'll fix that crash, and then we'll go and I'll show what it is I want to do on the layout and what still needs doing. Right, and so I've come to the narrow side of the layout to explain essentially why it is that I've moved away, why I had moved away from the idea I initially had of the brewery type scene and into this sort of small industrial estate area, and ultimately it comes down to buses. I have 4 South Down buses / coaches that are not quite the right time period for Crowswood, but I love South Down buses. So much so that I get messages from family when they've seen them in the original sort of South Down colours, when they'll be driving around and say, "Oh, I saw one of those buses you like." message or a general conversation that pops up, because I do like Southdown buses. I wanted somewhere to display them that wasn't just on a shelf. And so what I've done is I've changed it so that I've got a road bridge, which also acts as a scenic brake a little bit. It's not the best scenic brake, but it does work. I can hide a loco in there, but obviously you see the engine in and out of the whole train, in and out of the so in and out of under that area, but it does sort of break up the scene a bit, and it adds a bit of elevation, a bit of difference, especially at the moment with that Volvo beer lorry and that 1950s. Don't know the exact date, but the Southdown bus that's on there at the moment, the covered version was introduced in 1948, which is just too late for Crowswood. That's the open top one, which came a bit later. But yeah, that's ultimately why I wanted to change from the brewery into more of a road. It's not a big industrial yard or industrial estate, it's just a small one, or maybe it's the edge of one. Maybe you go over that level crossing, which I still need to do a little bit on, because there's an area sort of here where the paint shows. It's black paint, not brown paint, so I'll add some scatters around it, some grasses or coarse turf, just to blend it in. So you go past there, and well, maybe there's more of the industrial estate. It's cut in half by the old Heritage Railway. Another thing I do like is I haven't stuck these buildings down. So I'll lift that one up, you can see there's a sort of forklift, and very crude and rudimentary, but there are shelves in very basic sort of fashion. There's a leftover bit of a ladder from a broken light I had from the kit, but it kind of works, and you might be able to see there's a bit of an interior in there. There's a Coca-Cola vending machine, there's a chap pressing a button on it, there's someone behind a little desk. There's no lighting in these buildings, but still nice to see. And crucially, it's not stuck in, it's not secured. However, this is stuck down, this is stuck down, these bins here are stuck down, and so I can get that into where it needs to go by pushing it up against them. So I haven't got any of them stuck down, so again I can lift up the courier if it wants to lift. It doesn't. Never works on camera. Right, let's come at it from a different angle. Right, I got it. Not sure why, I think it was stuck on the post box, but just using coal sacks just to represent sort of post. Just again, very basic. I made out of leftover doors from the two that use green doors, and again, there's people in there. All of them have an interior, even if it's just basic. And again, it's got anchor points. It's got this little smoking shelter. There's a bin, and then there's this little bit of wall, just achieve this flexible walling, and the post box. And so, oh, there's a Ford Transit in there as well, which is why I wanted it to be removable. So it's easier to just take that forward, put it there. Get that back in the spot, take this a little forward, push it in, and part of that one just there for now. I can rearrange. I've got a Royal Mail one, which I could put in there as well. So it's all about changing it around, sort of changing the scene so it's fresh every few days. And the same sort of thing where I can lift them out is on those two, the two Bold Tyres garage buildings, which I'm just going to go around to that because they're the two main buildings that made me want to have the roof. These, so only these 4 buildings removable. So let's get over there. Now I've zoomed in a little bit, so it's going to be a bit lower definition, unfortunately. So I am only using my phone. But hopefully you can sort of see a bit of the scene I've got going on. So I'll move this angle here. And there's some people that are looking at, I'll zoom back out, this wheel on the angle here, almost like there's a problem there. That could just as easily be the back wheel on that Vauxhall Wyvern. It's all like the point, because a car isn't going to stay in the garage all the time. As the people are frozen in time, the cars are frozen in time until I teleport them around. But ultimately it's just something a bit more interesting and for me to do and to change and play around with the scenes. So I could have the Coca-Cola transit at the Coca-Cola and Asahi distribution plant. The signage for that came from some boxes from Coca-Cola and Asahi. Okay, and it stays. I'll get on to the road bridge in a bit, but zooming in, zoop, zoop. So there's a chap here on a T-brake next to his AA van. There's another AA van here. There's a lot of this style of transit on the layout. There's a lot of Ford Transit in general. I do like Ford Transits. Not entirely sure why, but I just like the Transit. I just like them. Most of the fans are Fords. So there's a Ford 400E here, and again, this building, I lift it up, and there's some other bits of garage stuff inside. There's a chap underneath the lift. There's a guy over checklist. And at the moment, there's a Morris pickup. I zoom back out. I just accidentally made a zoom wheel on the phone camera. I've never done that before. Ooh. Oh. That took me by surprise. Inside here, again, all of them have got the bridge, the door up there on the other side. So if you were to get down low, you could see the door sort of folded up. There's the rest of the handles, and again, as an interior, I don't think this one has any people inside it. I think this is the only one that doesn't. Yeah, this is the only one that doesn't have anyone inside. It's got benches and signs and things in it though. Again, just to give an idea of the illusion of an interior. I can't remember who made a lot of the 3D printed parts, but I got them on eBay from the same seller, and I can't remember who it is, so sorry about that. But they're brilliant pieces for a garage. Toolboxes, more sign up, vintage advertising. And this one's just MOT, so I envision this as an MOT type centre. Here's the fun bit, getting it on around the anchor points and around the the interior parts, because the car can come off, but this is fixed. Yep. Very narrow car, but there's a Morris advert, so yeah, so getting it in, and we're in. And I think that's pretty cool myself. I'm going to zoom in on the second one, because again, this is the tyre one, it's different again. I'll just move the tow truck out of the way. So this one has traffic cones as a part of its put anchor points in the salt bin and industrial bin, which is yellow, which matches the car jacks. The bold letters sign is yellowish, and there is yellow tyre racks, so it all sort of matches in a way. And there's yellow on the car lift as well. Again, it's another Morris. I do love the Morrises, but they are old British cars. And again, so zooming out, so roof, they've all got so the two out of there, Post Office and Coca-Cola, they've got red doors, which are up there. Again, there's more signage. And this one has a food vending machine and a Pepsi vending machine, and there's a woman who you might be able to see. I think she's HO scale at the vending machines. And this one's more the tyres. Just two tyre racks in it. And again, it's just a case of getting it into position. And down it goes. In position. Behind it, I've just put loads of lichen. What I'll do is I'm going to lift up the tripod, wish me the best, and sort of show what's behind that. So we're on a shaky cam because I lifted up the tripod, but you can see I've just put loads of lichen because it's sort of overgrown, not really tended to. And I just think that sort of adds a little bit to the semi-countryside feel of the layout. I'll put this back down. And then road bridge. Right, so the road bridge. It's Metcalf. Most of the buildings I go for are Metcalf. They're affordable, they're easy, and a joy to build. And so this is the tapered retaining walls and double track bridge. Double track because it goes over a second radius curve and so I wanted enough clearance. And there's enough clearance for a Mark 1 to go through. They had no idea if a Mark 3 will. Mark 3 will never run here. But a Mark 1, should I want to run a Mark 1 from upstairs, it will clear that. A 9F will also clear it. I don't know about Class 37 though, I haven't tried that, it's my biggest diesel. The road bridge itself though, it uses the Metcalf tarmac sheets it came with, but what I have done is, I'm going to zoom. You see there's little ridges. I want to blend these in along with the edges of the tarmac sheeting into each other using an art pencil so that it's harder to tell the gap. I also wanted it to be a different material to the I'm zoomed in, tarmac, which is here, for different reasons. because I want this to almost be like some freshly laid new batch. I want to get some figures to put here, some sort of road workmen. So they've been working on the road and they've relaid the road, whereas the bridge and the area by the industrial units is a different sort of material. It's a harder wearing, longer lasting material, so it's something that the local council will have to change less, which is good because it means more money to put into their own pocket. But using leftover bits of the tarmac, because I didn't use all of it for up here, these ridges, initially I just did them a few along the top, a few along the way, but I ended up with situations where the vehicles would basically just be like that, which isn't very fluid. So I've added loads more so I can pose the vehicles different ways. So I could have the rear axle on this van hooked over one which is there, like that. Or I could bring this front axle to this one. It gives me a bit more options of playing around and moving stuff around without relying on blue tack or glue. Yeah, if I accidentally bump into the layout, I will have an accident. The worst one was when a bus rolled down, or when the Volvo crushed the little white Ford Sierra. So accidents do happen, but for the most part, they're not glued down. I can rearrange them. So I could have this transit with some cones or building roadwork type things in the back of it, as if it's coming down for the roadworks, or if it's taking something away, or there's just, I can change and play around with the cars and the vehicles as well as the engines. So coming into here, just going to change some points. Another Harvey's brewery train. But wanted 1968 out of the way a minute with her wagons. So I've got this old metal, I think that's really cool, weigh gauge, loading gauge rather. This I've shown this before. It's got people in it and it's stuck down, and crane in it, and barrels and bags of things and all sorts of things you might want to load and offload. But the ballast is deliberately dark grey because I want it to look like an engine's been sat or a wagon's been sat for a while and frequently leaking oil, ash, coal, all that stuff, which makes the ballast darker. And so the siding which goes next to, which is essentially the head shunt, scoot across. So what is essentially the head shunt for the sort of the engine yard, the engine depot, but it's also used for wagons and things. It's mostly just dark. There's some patches of light grey ballast in it. There's some bits of grass up near the end, near the buffer stop. Just sort of bring it a bit more to life. Each one of these points, except for this one, that will be changing next month, has a point lever. Except for the two that are on the main running line, all the points, except this one, have a point lever. But this one's going to have one of this sort of type, which is a Pico narrow gauge, I think. Point lever just next to it, just to sort of show how it would work. And this is the most complicated bit of wiring I've ever done on this point, which I'll get into a little bit more in a bit. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go into the car park. There we go, 1968 is back. And she's gotten the beer train in, ready for that Ford Iveco lorry to take away. The car park area though is very basic, so I can get this, should be able to get them very quickly, but watch me ramble. It's a different colour to this tarmac slightly, it's slightly lighter, deliberately to try and make it look like it might be a bit older and a bit more sun faded. There's people by the Sierra. I do want to get more people. There's a set of people that Bachman do that I really want, has a pushchair in it, because I think that'll look really, really good. Because it's that, I don't remember if it's a man or a woman pushing the pushchair, but the parents taking the young one out to come and see the steam trains. Because that's how I sort of remember. I don't remember it so much, but there's pictures of me very, very young with steam trains, and so I think that's why my love of Southern steam really comes from, is from childhood in the Bluebird Railway. But getting back on topic, no more tangents. All the sort of vehicles are removable again, so a bit hard to see, but it's a Ford Galaxy. Why the people carriers just fell out of fashion and everyone decided to go to SUVs, I don't know. These are better. There's more space in them, they're more comfortable, more practical. You still get a higher seat position than a normal car. And typically these had like 5-star safety ratings, whereas these would have lower ones, but you're not going to complain too much. It's got a soft spot for the Renault Scenic, which unfortunately they don't make. Oxford Diecast doesn't make in 00. Because I would snap them up. There is a Renault on the layout. There's a yellow one all the way in the corner. There's a little yellow Renault. I do love a Renault, despite them being French. And as an Englishman, that feels weird. No more tangent. I've got a hot dog sort of van for serving hot food. There's an ice cream van here as well. There is the hot dog, the matching Volkswagen van, just parked out of the way. Bob's Hot Dogs. Here's a lovely van. I do like these vans. It's out the way. It's currently next to a Land Rover Freelander, and it's there because of stuff we've got to get to. Got to get extra supplies and bits for this somehow. And beyond that, much like the rest of the layout, it's cars I like from any time period. The Escort, the Vauxhall Vectra. Love a Mark 1 Vectra, even though they are boring. It's just, with the cones are set, they're stuck down, but I can rearrange the car park so I can have it busier, I can have it quieter, I can have more cars dealing with the level crossing. I can have that dual commander parked in here somewhere, much like the EFE, the EFE Southdown coach, I can't remember the name on top of my head, is also at the back over there. I can have the Ford Iveco and the Volvo beer lorry offloading or loading into the goods shed. Again, the people will be fixed, but the cars, they can be moved around. So I change what's at the level crossing somewhat frequently. There is a Land Rover hidden just behind here. There's another Land Rover, barely visible. I can zoom in. So you can just see the roof of the Land Rover. And then there's another Land Rover there. There's a signal. The signal the crossing keeper is. Behind the signal. You can probably just see its chairs. It's a dark green Land Rover. There's a Mini, Mark II Jag, and then the Renault. I'm going to come down into, as I'm already here, into the station area. So we're here already pretty much. So the station, there's double doors here which you'd come into, and this is a single door here you'd come out of. But there's a red gate which just comes out, painted in a flat red, I think. It's a Pico gate. There's a little hole. It goes in. It's sort of built, there's a gap between the wall where the ramp ends and the building, which is roughly the gate in length. So if there's historically any goods that will be delivered to here, they just need to be dropped off like parcels. They could just be whizzed down around. Any luggage could be whizzed up, whizzed down. But in heritage preservation era, we cripples and people in wheelchairs, pushchairs, it's easier for them to navigate this than it would be stairs. So mum and dad come up. Dad buys the tickets, comes out, volunteer opens the gate, and then mum and the pushchair push up. Or me being a cripple, I come in, buy my ticket, come out, and I've only got a ramp to go up. I haven't got to go up steps. It's kind of like how it is at Foxfield. So the station building's at ground level. So you come in, buy your ticket, you can explore the museum, which is brilliant. Have a look in the shop, get yourself a nice Foxfield breakfast, very good. Yes, I'm plugging the railway. And then open the door, up you come, just out the door. And it's a ramp up to the station, up the platform, which is brilliant. And so, taking from that a little bit, it's Foxfield Light Railway, and this is a light railway, so it's just easier. There's a fair few dogs. There's 1, 2, 3. Can't see one of them. Dogs. There's a guy in a World War II uniform, because it's very fun going in a World War II uniform on the train. And he's got golf clubs. And then we got just the station master with his flag, with a volunteer who's sweeping. So it's just trying to have a bit of extra something in it. And those engines would be frequently stopped here to take on water. It's dark ballast. And there's dark ballast sort of along, in sort of patches along here. So all in all, I think that's pretty much everything. So what I'll do now, I'll do some running and I'll go into the most complicated bit of wiring I have ever done. So the track work, why that's the most complicated point, which currently is the one that doesn't have a point lever on it, is how do we get from the running loop up here along into the head shunt, all next to 1968, who's currently at the gut shed, and then how do we come back to allow an engine as 30069 comes along to do that. But then we flip this point and then she can come back. So how do we do that? Well, that is an insole frog point. It's a set track point, which means it's beautifully simple. Quite simply, this side is wired, and this side is wired, so I'm just going to get closer. Let's point in frame. We'll do it live. Here is a red wire on a fish plate, which is a Pico wired fish plate, and here is a red wire on a fish plate, again Pico. Here is black, here is black. You can probably see where this is going. The black is wired to the black, the red is wired to the red. That is it. Keep it simple, stupid. So, wired to here. So where this standard set track straight meets the point, the fish plates have been removed. These Pico powered ones have been put in. So go into here, to here, and here, to here. Which means, as long as this point is allowing 30069 to go this way, the next point, so this one is set to go straight on, so 30069 keeps going up. And into that head shunt. Normally, you flick this, which is our wired up point, and you would lose power, you'd lose the connection. However, and back in the siding, because I've got it, so the power is coming along these two rails, and then comes to here. The wire, the voltage, the current, the power goes through the wire to the other side, and then comes up into here, into this area where all of the engines live. So I just flip that point, and then out comes S73. Flip that one, comes 68 and nearly into S73. Flick that one, and then there's 237. I understand this building's in the way, little staff room's in the way, but hopefully you're able to see. That's simply by just keeping it simple. Simply by having this. It is relying on this coming up into here going straight along for it to work. And obviously there's no short circuit when it's closed, because it's the same voltage on this side going into here as it is on this side going into here. So as Charlie of Chadwick says, back to the black. So that sort of wire the same side to the same side. Because if I'd have gone red here, then diagonally, I'd have all sorts of problems. I'd have shorts and it just wouldn't work. So it's a very, very simple bit of wiring. If you aren't confident with a soldering iron, you can ask your local model shop. They might be willing to do it for you. Mine is. The Hobby Goblin is very helpful. Steve's very helpful. But it just sort of adds a bit extra play, that bit extra functionality to it. And so all I've got to do, again, is turn it. And because the power's coming from here to here, off the main feed, it works. So, again, keep it simple, stupid. Make your life easier by keeping it as simple as you can. And you can go and have it all complicated, extra buses. You could have it set up so that it picks up power, so that head shunt is constantly live. But I didn't want the head shunt to be constantly live. So, as an example, I'll bring some axles in the head shunt, and then just park there. I can then potentially run a visiting engine just around the loop. So I just brought 36 because she's the quickest to grab. And I can just run without having to worry about that area being where DS237 is always being live. Granted, if it was DCC, it'd probably be a lot simpler well, I say a lot, but it's simpler in some ways, but I don't model DCC. It's not for me. I prefer just simple layout, so simple caveman controller, and just dial go up, train move, dial go down, train stop. Not sure if you heard that yelling. I do apologise. Because my neighbours might be dying. That was something's happened, because something good's happened in a game or something. But ultimately, that is pretty much it. This is a long one because a lot's happened, and I have been it feels like I've been speaking at 12,000 rounds a minute, but most of the buildings have interiors, not all of them, but most of the interiors. So this one doesn't. That one does, the little brick building there. The little goods office does. You can see there's some road signs about their modern road signs. Again, heritage type railway, and again, what I remember. Yeah, there's old buses. Not modern buses, but old buses are cooler. But what I'm going to do then is I'm going to sort of sign off, and sort of as wrap this video up, I'm going to have probably 30064 running around with a short passenger train. And so until the next video, which is probably going to be a it might be a Crowswood video, seeing how I've gotten most of my track plans done, or it might be me discussing the plans and what happens next at Crowswood, or it might be just a fun little video just playing trains. I have no idea at the moment, but I want to try and make 2 videos a month this year, so at least. So yeah, they won't all be super duper mega long like this one, I hope. Well, some of them are going to be long. Those of you who have listened and watched this far, thank you. It means a lot hearing, just knowing there's more than 300 subscribers now, which is insane. I never thought I'd get to 100. I thought 50 was like was amazing, but I'm up over 300 now. So thank you, everyone. If you've got any comments, you got any sort of questions, anything like that, put them in the comment section, and I'll try and reply to them. I do try and reply to the comments, or at least put a little heart on them. So yeah, again, thank you for watching. I'll get 30064 out ready for her short passenger charter around the layout, and thank you for watching. I shall see you in the next one.